What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So I just saw some new information, man, that really pisses me off. Right? Um, Now, look, my earlier videos regarding the upcoming Hall of Fame vote, which will be released on January 25th for Major League Baseball, my videos were really promising in their tone because of the released votes, right? About one third of the Hall of Fame ballots have been released, publicly released. Both Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens were above the 75% threshold. So I made the assumption that, um, you know, these were votes that were being randomly put out there publicly, and that this is afterwards. Like basically the voters had no knowledge that these votes would be publicized. But I was erroneous in that assumption. Apparently, the voters who ballots are out there, who they are and how they voted, they chose to be public. They already chose in advance that they were going to say who they were and publicize. The rest of these ballots are anonymous. And that's the fucking problem. That's the fucking problem. There's an old saying, I think it comes from Oscar Wilde, right? And the saying goes, uh, give a man a mask and he will reveal everything, right? Last year, Bonds and Clemens were about 71, 72%, right? 73% with the public ballots. But when all of the anonymous ballots were released, they dropped like 10, 12%. So Bonds dropped from like 73% down to 61%. So they're anticipating a similar drop. Right now, Bonds is over that threshold at 70, I think 79%. I think Clemens is at 77%. But if there's a similar drop, guess what? They fall down to like 67, 68%, which puts them under the 75% threshold and also keeps them from being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And that's it. The only other way they can get into the hall now would be by the Veterans Committee, and they won't be eligible, I think, for like 14 or 15 years. And then the Veterans Committee, they only meet every 4 years. So it could be a process where if they get in, they're going to be old men, or they may not get in their lifetime, right? I'm gonna tell you another reason why these nothing but a bunch of gutless cowards, all of them, a bunch of gutless cowards. For some reason, now it makes sense. Kurt Schilling has dropped. Kurt Schilling was on the precipice when the votes were released last year. Kurt Schilling was at 71%. Now, I think Kurt Schilling is borderline, but I would put him in if I was a voter. I think he did just enough to be a Hall of Famer. But guess what? He insulted those writers last year. He was sick of the process. He thought the writers were dumb, and he said, "Take me off the ballot." Now, all of a sudden, he's only in the 50s. Last I checked, he was 58%. Why the drop off? Why all of a sudden so many writers now all of a sudden see him as not Hall of Fame worthy? Is it because he hurt your fucking feelings, or are you looking at his accomplishments? And that's what the fuck I'm talking about. I keep trying to drill to people. These voters don't vote based upon who they think is a Hall of Famer or not. They vote upon how you kiss their ass. They vote upon how much you sing their praises. If you did not have a good relationship with the media, they're going to fuck you over when it comes time for Hall of Fame induction. They are, in my opinion, the mainstream media, all of them, they are the unchecked power in this country. There's a balance of power and checks and balances when it comes to the executive branch, the judicial branch, and the legislative branch. for good reason. But is anybody out there to check the fucking media? Fuck no. They have so much power. They have almost unlimited power to ruin fucking people. Look what the fuck. Look, at the end of the day, Russell Westbrook is a horrible point guard, right? Look how much the media is destroying him, right? This man is a fucking wreck because he can't play basketball at a high level. So they have a lot of fucking power. And I'm gonna tell you something. If I see that David Ortiz, who's at 83%, if I see him not dropping at all, right? But all of a sudden Bonds and Clemens drop, that means that these cowards who are publicized, look, so that basically means that they only feel compelled to vote. The people who are public, they know that they're public. They all know who, they know that we'll know how they voted. But everybody else is anonymous. So they'll escape, you know, uh, to an extent, our fury because we can't prove how they voted, even though we'll know by the numbers. A lot of them didn't vote for Bonds and Clemens. I just find this whole process just disgusting. I find it finally just very disgusting because I'm like, what are you guys looking at? What are you looking at? Gary Sheffield, World Series champion, 509 career home runs, one of the great hitters of all time. But because of his supposed link to PED, supposed, you're not voting him in. You're not going to vote in Alex Rodriguez, who hit almost 700 home runs, right? You're not going to vote in Barry Bonds, an all-time leader in home run hitter, both regular season and career. 7 league MVPs. You're not going to vote in Roger Clemens, 7 Cy Young Awards, right? But you're going to vote in potentially fucking Scott Rowland, right? Scott fucking Rowland. The Veterans Committee just voted in Buck O'Neil. I'm not knocking Buck O'Neil, but come on, man. But you won't vote for Dick Allen. That's why I say that Hall of Fame is a fucking joke. It's a fucking joke. And if they don't vote in Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens and some of these other guys, they vote in some of these jokes, I'm gonna get on their ass every fucking day that I'm thinking about it. That day is gonna be fucking hell to pay if they don't vote these motherfuckers in, man. It just makes me fucking sick. It makes no sense. There's no excuses anymore. David Ortiz is linked to steroids. He's linked to PEDs, but you're voting him in. Why? Because he kissed your ass? That's why that's why I hate these motherfucking media members. People think I hate these players so much. I hate the media because they be capping so much and they full of shit. Just let them not vote in Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens this time. Let them fuck them over one more time, but vote for a person who's on them in the Mitchell report. You can't fucking make it. You can't make any excuses. You're voting for a person who's on the in the Mitchell report for PED use, but you're not voting for people because you suspect that they use steroids. And everybody that you're not voting for, they were notoriously known for not being media friendly. Fuck these people, man.